Good morning, Zoe, and welcome to week 3 of Sheet Critique. Thank you again for joining us for this third weekend and for allowing me to take a peek at your images and trusting me to give you some critique on them. This week you decided to send me some boudoir images, and you mentioned that these were done about a little over a year ago as a portfolio building session. You had a couple friends willing to help you out and pose for you to build up your portfolio and at least give you a good try at boudoir. A little of my history is I started blush boudoir photography, I don't know, about 5 years ago, I think, and ran marathons and couture sessions pretty solid for a little over 3 years. And I left blush a little over a year ago. Due to scheduling conflicts, my business took a different turn and I wasn't able to do it as much. And I did have a partner that I worked with and ended up turning the business over to my partner. So I do have a pretty solid boudoir background and have shot many sessions. I have since, I still do boudoir. I do it just for my own clients and on a as needed basis instead of running marathons. And I have taken a little bit of a different turn in the style that I've been doing. Try to do a little more natural, a little more lifestyle versus the posed, overly sexy boudoir. Try to take it a little more realistic approach to it. I'm also shooting it on film. So, but that's just a little history on where I come from with my boudoir right now, and I'll probably be kind of channeling a little bit of that as I look over your images here. Your first image, I love it. I really can't say anything negative about it. The light is stunning. It looks like you did a great job editing. It looks very real. It looks very relaxed. Even though she's looking at us, I don't feel like she's like, oh my gosh, someone's looking at me with the camera. So it looks natural, and she's looking really straight into us. You've got just enough of a peekaboo here. You got a little bit of jewelry detail. This could be a little bit distracting since she's completely in the buff. You could have probably even removed that just so it's completely au natural, but, it doesn't bother me. Love the light, love the softness of the DOF. I love that you didn't completely airbrush her to death. You see some realness in her. And, I really do just love the image. There's really nothing negative I can say about it. I'm just going to pull up the original just for, we can see the difference between your work. And you can tell you did do some work on it. I see there was, get a little bit of a tat removed. We cut this part out, which I'm glad you did, and I'll go there in just a minute. A little bit of blemish, marks, little under eye cleaning, lightened it up quite a bit, but not too much. I think it looks stunning. As far as this goes, I know this was like kind of a big pose for a lot of boudoir people. It's never been one of my favorites, with the heel and thong type thing. I think we've all probably gone there and tried it at one point or another, and totally worth a try, but it's just, I feel like it's such a forced pose, and I think that keeping the poses as natural as possible, not only more comfortable for the client, but also more believable when you're looking back through the images. But the fact that I think you saw that and you went ahead and removed it, and that shows me that you self-edited there and you saw that it just looked better like this. This was way more, and to me, it's sexier, it's less distracting, it's real. And natural, and this is very distracting. You're like, why would she do that? And I'm sure her leg did not look comfortable there either. So good job on the self-editing there, and I think it's a stunning image. So I would definitely say shoot more because you did a wonderful job on that. Next image, I don't know if I have the edited version of that in here. Let me check real quick. Okay, sorry for a slight little break, but I had to find the edited version of this image, which is right here. And loving the color palette. take a look back and forth. I actually love the composition and the pose. Um, she looks very relaxed, looks very natural. I would almost like, maybe even for this one, just to make it a little more voyeuristic, is for her not to be looking at us. I think you did that in a couple other images coming up. But something to me with boudoir is you want a few with a really good eye contact just to fill in with the gallery for whoever they're gifting it to, so you can see their face and stuff. But I think that taking a more voyeuristic approach to it actually gives it a whole nother level of sensuality and vision. That way it looks like this person is actually just hanging out looking so saucy and sexy as they are, and you just kind of snuck up and snapped this moment, versus it looking posed. When they're looking at you, it tends to give a little more of a posed look to the image. But your color palette's awesome. You've got these pinks and raspberry colors here, the pink panty over to the pink lip, and even in the pink in her hands. So it really travels you really nice into the image, even though you have this kind of very blank canvas here. But I really, really like the way it looks. And there's even pink in her shirt. And so the styling is really nice. I really like the styling. I love your use of light. Again, I think I just would have really liked, her maybe not looking at us, or if you just even turn her so she's looking straight up, and if she kicks that chin up a little bit and closes her eyes, it looks like she's just breathing in a moment, and can make a whole nother level to this image. You can shoot it both ways, and that way you can decide if you like it, this way better or the other way better. But obviously you probably shot a lot more than just this image, but just by changing this simple pose up just a little bit, by turning her and having her not look at you. Okay, and we're going to go look at your original real quick just to see the difference in editing. And you can see you definitely lightened it up a bit. You added some warmth, kind of like a day glow warmth to it. I kind of would like to see how it looks without, so I'm going to tweak it just a little. And I think I would warm it up just a hair. And a little contrast for her darks. So, you mentioned that you were using a lot of Photoshop and such back during this time. You're not doing it as much. So here's a taste of the image with a little less of this warm yellow in there. You might want to take a little of the pink out, just a hair. But overall, the image is just well shot. So there's really no issues with it there. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next image. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. But like I said, just a quick Lightroom edit of this image. It's just a great image. I would love to see a little more. I almost wish I could see the whole set just to see, what else you tried and what else you did. But I really do think she looks relaxed. I think she would look even more relaxed if she wasn't looking at us, just to kind of sum up what I was saying about the image. But love your styling, love your color palette. I think you did a great job with that. And the next image we have is a black and white. Immediately, the first thing I want to do is I want to fix the tilt. So I'm going to start there just because it tends to be something that I'm a stickler for. I don't know what it is. If you can fix it, if it's not going to hurt the image, I say fix it. It's just a little less distracting, but it was the first thing I noticed when I looked at the image. So, I went ahead and fixed it real quick just so we're there. But love, love, love the use of the, very 3200 film type processing. Obviously, this is shot digitally and it's edited in an action or a preset that gives you the film-esque look, which is kind of, looks like 3200, which is high speed or high ISO film. And if you get a chance to actually learn film and shoot that, it's amazing. Love it. One of my favorite films I use. But I want to kind of tweak the blacks in it just a little, just to kind of look at the processing first. I feel like they need just a little more on them. Let me see if I can fix that again real quick. I'm sorry. Just to show the difference. Just because I feel like I'm I'm fighting to get into the image as far as I don't know where to start. And I think by pulling these blacks up a little, it helps me get here a little faster, which is where the focal point is. So that's the only reason that I felt, I really wanted to bring those blacks up a little. I just like a little more contrast in the image just to help draw you into the dark points. As far as the pose and everything, this is exactly what I was talking about with the whole voyeuristic look. So I think that you obviously, like I said, I like to see more images. This shows me that you did also take that approach, that you weren't just taking the straight onto the camera, that you are going for a very relaxed, very natural feel to the image. So, it looks like, she either just woke up and was rolling out of bed, or after some intimate time with whoever she likes to spend time with. When we're talking boudoir, you kind of have to come up with these scenarios. It helps you as the photographer, but it also helps your client to tell a story, is to determine, the look you're going for, whether it was just, post-intimacy or pre-intimacy, or if she's just hanging out and looking saucy all the time, or if it's, early Sunday morning, bedhead and tank top and underwears, whatever the case may be, you kind of have to create this, this story to help you get a vision for the types of images that you want. This is exactly the types of images that I love. My only thing with this one, because it's for boudoir, is that I would say it's a little more of a filler image, just because it doesn't have, it's not clearly boudoir. I can look at this image and just really see it as just a moment, of someone laying in bed. There's really not that whole, there's not as much, I guess, sex appeal or such to this particular image. With that said, I do love the image. I love the way that the light is grazing her body and highlighting her. I love that it's soft. I love that it's extremely relaxed. I would maybe kind of keep an eye on the legs here, because they can come across a little bit as amputee, which, you almost just want to have at least one kicked out or both, or consider cropping into here and here, just to avoid chopping her off at the knees. By doing that, which is kind of cool that I just did that, but it also brought us in here so much faster than the other version. This, you kind of look at the whole room, you're kind of going from here to here to here, but as soon as you go here, you're immediately brought right into this focal point, which is what you had her on, and that is the eyelashes. And her legs don't look awkward, it looks like they're just falling off a little better. So sometimes just playing with your crop can make an image a little more focused. Now, if you wanted to have a more pulled back look, I would have pulled back even more and kept the light grazing her body, or even shifted her so she was a little more on an angle this way, had a little more here, legs here. That way she could stretch her legs out a little bit to avoid, this look here at the ends of the legs. And it could just look a little awkward to a stranger looking at the image. But again, love your use of light. I do love your relaxed posing. I would just look for the couple things that I mentioned, but I really do like it. And here's the original, just so anybody watching this can see, since I know you've seen it, which again, in color, it's gorgeous too, but there's just always something so sensual about a nice, soft black and white. The next image I have, I'm going to have to, let me pull in the JPEG, because for some reason I forgot it again. And let's see, here's the JPEG that you had. And again, the first thing I want to do, just because it's slightly off, is tweak that angle. There's right and wrong times to tilt, in my opinion. Again, this is personal opinion. There's a lot of tilters out there. But when I see it just slightly like this, and hold on, and there is room for fixing it if possible, it just looks accidental. So just by tweaking it, in my opinion, it makes it just look a little more intentional and a little more polished. Of course, I didn't get it right. So that's one reason I like it. And then immediately I want to center her, just because she's a very symmetrical pose right here. So I feel like putting her in the center and framing her better. She just looks a little awkward to the left, so I feel like I want her centered. And then obviously, you didn't shoot it that way, so you could probably attempt it like this, and that gives us a little more of the centering. You did mention that you felt like this was a little awkward or a little stiff or something as far as, the pose. I do agree with you. It just looks forced, I guess is the best way to mention it. I've done this shot as far as, snuggling with a pillow. It usually takes a while, believe it or not. There's very few people that can actually sit and cuddle a pillow and not look like they're, manhandling or overly being awkward with this pillow. So this is a shot that I have done numerous times, and it just takes a little time on your behalf to finesse and position the arms and legs and things to get them just right. But right now it's very, very forced. I mean, her arms are clearly, literally parallel with each other. It definitely looks like, she just did this because you asked her to, and it wasn't something that just happened. The first thing I would do, just to walk you through how I would fix her at this point, is I would move her back. Her being at the edge of the bed here, because we know it's the edge because of the fall off of light, it just looks like she might fall forward, or, it's just distracting. So the first thing I'll do is move her off to the center of the bed. If her feet get tucked into the bed because of it's soft or the duvet or whatever, don't worry about it. You'll be able to work around that. But I would love to see her more in the center of the bed, somewhere that she might actually be. And the other option is not to use a pillow, to use a sheet. And then having the sheet rumpled up around her makes it a little less forced or expected. And then one thing we like to do is, relax the arms, is have one kind of dropped back in the lap and have the other one kind of tucked up around a corner. Her elbow would drop down, her arm would come up and kind of grab the pillow here. And even turning the pillow so a point comes up, or at least up to one side, so it's not horizontal. You got shoulders, edge of pillow, arms, knees, feet. You got nothing but horizontal lines happening here. So by breaking that up simply by, changing the angle of the pillow, dropping an arm down so a hand comes up at an angle here. And then the other thing I like to do is to have one knee kind of up and stretched out to the front here. And then, just really breaking up the body parts. You got to look at all the joints and break them, but you don't want to break them all in the same way. So right now everything is mirrored and a little too symmetrical. And then, if you have her even kind of giggle, that would loosen her up. Or, have her kind of gaze down, like towards the side, and let her hair fall across half her face and have a little smirk on her face. There's a lot of ways. If she feels stiff to you, half the way to avoid that is just by having them look off, but finding it a way to look natural. So give her something to look at. Find the angle that because you say, hey, can you just look off for a minute? She might just look directly this way, and you're going to be like, why is she looking this way? So like I said, just by saying, hey, can you kind of look down at your knee or down at the bed in this area? And I would have her go this way just because the light is going to come in and hit this side of her face here. Her hair is going to fall down across her face here. We're going to catch just enough of her mouth and nose, and then maybe even say, think of something sweet, give me a sweet, soft, coy little smile. So we'll catch just the peak of that smile there. Overall, I think that, just working on finding a way to relax clients, some of them just are really hard to relax. And, we found the best way to do that is to, just get them away from the camera a little bit, not so focused on the camera. The laying down shots, the looking away shots, and things like that usually help. And, sometimes we just get stiff clients. But just breaking up, like I said, with this one, just breaking up the pose a little bit and making it look a little more relaxed. Even turning it a little more profile would make it seem a little less forced. So just keep working on it and change up the angles and such, and probably work out great for you next time. And I'm going to have to maybe pull up a couple of the ones I've done of this if I can find them. It's been a while since I've done the shot, and give it a share with you guys in the forum. And the next image, the last image we have, might be one of my favorites, and just because I love detail shots and I love the use of this light. It just hugs her perfectly. This is a great version of a detail shot. You know, the legs are beautiful. The hand is well placed. The light is just hitting everything just right. It's no tilt. It's perfect horizontal. You got a little bit of room detail here. So it really gives us a sense of voyeuristic. And again, you use the processing that looks like the old 3200 speed film, which again, you know, gives the grain and everything. You mentioned that this was done at very high ISO, and you know, because the light was going away, and I can see that here in the original. I can see a lot of the color noise and the noise that you had in the image. But it's still not bad. You know, it's definitely still a great image. It shows that you were shooting at 6400 and as low as 1/60th of a second. So, and pretty wide open too. You're at 1.4. So, you definitely were working with low light at this point. But I think you did a great job in the processing. Again, I think I like to see just a hair more in the blacks, just a bit more, because I don't want this becoming a black hole. But just enough to not make us force too much. I mean, true 3200 speed film would have a little more contrast to it in most processing situations. So it just tends to highlight the details just a little more, and I like it like that. But really, I have you know, no negatives about this image. I think it looks great. You've got a really strong eye for boudoir, and it's very relaxed and natural. Obviously, this is the only one that we had issues with, but I think that you know, you're off to a very great start, and I would be interested in seeing more of your boudoir work down the road. So great job.